someone that used to be pretty significant, maybe even special in your life, thought that they were so special that you'd never be anything without them. They believed that your happiness, your success, your creativity, your confidence, man, just your overall reason for existing was predicated on their presence. But a really ironic revelation occurred upon separation with said person. It was actually revealed that you may not have been much or mounted to much with them. And quite the contrary, you're actually amazing on your own. As a matter of fact, you couldn't be better. You couldn't be happier. You couldn't feel stronger. You couldn't be more confident. You couldn't be more optimistic, more courageous, more successful. Overall, just better and more in love with yourself than you could have ever imagined to be with them. And this revelation, this realization is not lost on the projector, by the way. It's abundantly clear to them now more than ever before that they weren't really the secret ingredient in your best life experience. As a matter of fact, it turns out that you were the secret sauce in theirs. And now the realization coming a bit too long, too late, leaves them in quite a pickle. Because no matter how far and wide they may search, they know now that they'll never find a substitute or a supplement to all that you are, all that you were, and all that you meant to their life. And unfortunately, that's just the reality that they get to live with. What's up, everybody? It's me, Danae. I'm here with a message for you. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2026. It is 6:24, p.m. And we're just going to pull a few cards and see what may or may not follow up that message. Kind of harsh, isn't it? I know. But sometimes the truth hurts. Especially when you're not honest with yourself and honorable toward others. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. We got the Knight of Wands. Wow, going in the opposite direction, away from the Lovers. What's the Knight of Wands headed toward? The Knight of Wands definitely, and the Lovers actually, both came up in my pre-shuffle. Oh, it's just all types of confusion going on here. What is that? What is that energy? It feels like somebody has a lot that they want to say, but they don't even know. It's kind of like bottled up inside and maybe even suppressed. A lot of maybe suppressed or repressed emotion, passion. What's that term? Sexual tension. Okay. I'm getting that energy. There's so much that they want to say and do, and ways that they want to proact, activate to change circumstances or do something different, or I don't know what they want to do, but they don't feel like there's an open channel or opportunity for them to release in the way that they want to, in the way that they really are almost yearning to do so. Let me go back. What's the Knight of Wands going toward? Yeah, because it was just like the cars were getting all like screwed up. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but it was like a traffic jam of cars that were kind of trying to come out, but not quite flipping. And so that's kind of where I channeled that energy from. Somebody has a lot that they really want to get off of their chest. Or they might just have a whole bunch of like pent up frustration that they can't find a viable outlet to release through. That makes sense though. But even still, with the Knight of Wands, it's not the well-developed passion. It still seems immature, or I don't know, like something about it is not whole. So it could be exactly what I was saying, like someone that haven't walked away from an optimal choice, whatever that means, because it doesn't have to be limited to a partnership, a relationship, intimately. It could be platonic. It could be a number of things that more or less could have been an ideal match for someone, or an ideal situation with the Lovers, because that's a premium choice there. And they turned away for some other ulterior motive, or something that was more fascinating or exciting or immediately gratifying at the time. Whatever the case may be, it was or it has proven itself to be short-lived. So whatever they have turned to as an alternative is not proven to be as sustainably fulfilling as what they may have left behind, or passed up, or rejected, or turned away from, whatever it is. If we're talking about a relationship, it's just as I said, where someone is realizing that they're never going to experience the type of level, balanced, holistic love, reciprocation of love that they may have in some other space and place, or with some other person. And that what they've traded in for is no comparison or competition. It's not even in the same league. It can't even be in the same conversation, and it's not meant to be, because the Lovers, as far as choices are concerned, especially in this regard, is the best that you're going to get. Anything that you supplement or substitute for wasn't even meant to be satisfactory for very long. Oh, you don't want me to know what you went, what Knight of Wands, what did you go toward? Or what are you heading toward, whichever we're talking about here. Now the cards want to be quiet. Conflict. What I say, it can't even be in the same competition. So somebody could even have, conversation. They could have hella options, or could have had many experiences. But it's like going from a peaceful, harmonious connection where there's respect, there's love, there's understanding, there's devotion, there's commitment, there's trust, there's honesty, to toxicity. Going towards something that may be exciting. And sometimes, those toxic relationships can get the adrenaline going, but eventually it wears you down. Eventually it gets old, it gets tired, it gets exhausting. It can't even become harmful or threatening to your purest passion, like traumatic. So that's what somebody traded in for. And they hate it there, or they hated it there. And it's like this, there's so much entanglement here with the Five of Wands. They may not even be able to easily maneuver their way out. When you become so consumed with something toxic that it's hard to even pull yourself away from it, or to keep that energy at bay. Like every time somebody might even attempt to escape, they get drawn back in somehow, some way, or they end up meeting that energy in some other person. That's what it's given me as well. But it's all because, like I said, this is a Knight of Wands. Somebody that hasn't matured to their fullest potential. This could at least be a King of Wands. Somebody with self-control that knows how to protect themselves, that knows, is a bit more selective and discerning with what they interject themselves into. Maybe actually, if you feel me, not just going along, with whatever's clever or whatever is exciting at the time, and sowing their oats and everything else. Is like being a bit more reserved and conservative about your energy, and knowing that the moment that you lend yourself or submit yourself to a situation, whether it be relational or whatever the case may be, you're susceptible to the conditions of that environment or that situation. This feels like somebody that thought they could just get in and out, like dibble and dabble with a little bit of this and that, and get out whenever, like they feel like they're clever enough. And what's the word, with the Knight of Wands, is he would be not even so much adaptable, but yes, that as well, but like resilient enough, or there's a word that I'm hearing. What is that word? Oh, I can't hear it. Not clever, I would think would be more of the Knight of Swords. There's a word that I'm hearing for this Knight of Wands, that anyway, they thought that they had, the maneuvering capabilities to be able to dabble a bit and then slide out whenever, hit it or quit it type energy, or finesse type energy, here for a good time but not a long time. And whenever they're ready and on their terms, they could be in or they could be out. But with a situation just on sight, there are 5 wands against his own. And although he may, as we heard in the beginning, this is an energy that feels pretty highly, thinks, pretty highly of themselves, to think that they are the life of the party, which the Knight of Wands generally does, but that they're the secret ingredient or the secret sauce to any concoction. So it's like, it's a pleasure for you to meet me, in the words of Tracy Morgan on 30 Rock. Wherever their presence is, it's like, you're welcome type of energy. So they expect to charm their way into a space, but as soon as they're ready to route out, so be it. And it's like, wipe their hands clean of the situation. But like I said, they were outnumbered, outwitted, or outmatched, or just all consumed by energies that either collectively overwhelmed them or that were just on another level entirely. Or the other part is true, that they just didn't realize perhaps how weak they actually are to be so susceptible and so entangled and intertwined. Something like that. Ooh, Judgment. I'm taking it. Judgment here. Yeah. That's what's on the other side of this Lovers. This is where it was supposed to be. This would have been the optimal choice. But now there's a cycle or a chapter or an opportunity that is closed to someone. Oh, that could be it. That, like I was saying before, someone, I didn't say this, but it's like they realize that the options that they have curated for themselves are non-compete and non-comparison. And they also realize they're kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place, because this is an energy that knows that they can't necessarily backtrack to go retrieve what they passed up either, because as I said before, it's been revealed quite clearly that that energy is much better without him, without this connection, without this presence in their life. So that's a strong judgment call that's been made on the other side of that decision making, where someone doesn't even have the option to turn around and to revisit a connection that they now, in hindsight, realize was a good one, was premium. Or it certainly would have, even if they don't necessarily have still, because this doesn't give me someone that is refined enough to be able to even step into that connection at this rate, at this state of evolution. They're still too immature and still too distracted and, tempted otherwise. So it's not like they would have the best rate of success in this connection, even if they were given an opportunity. But it's the realization alone that kind of is like the buzzkill, so to speak. Because when you know that there was something that you had literally at your disposal, of which they at least believed that they did, and they believed that whomever they were projecting on believed that much was true, to go from that to that, it's like, damn. Like, the contrast is devastating, to say the least. Especially for someone that's not necessarily in a position where they would even be willing to evolve to this level. Like, they, in their heart of hearts, they still want to play around, but they just want better options to play with. For real, for real. And they may have thought that they could always kind of spin the block, come back, pick up where they left off, and have changed nonetheless, or no more. But realizing that that's not an option, and what they have is like, I'm getting the vision of like when a cat plays with like those like little toys, like little rat toys and stuff like that. Like they're all into it while they're in, when they're entertained. But after a while, it's just boring. It's like, all right, you know. Or sometimes even where I had a friend who had a cat, they would do that to like flies and stuff. They would get it and they would smack it around and play with it until it died, and then they just leave it there. Once it's lost its savor, its life, its excitement. And that's where somebody is. It's like, this isn't fun anymore. This is a hot ass mess. And it's not, somebody might not even be aroused literally by this energy anymore. This could be, again, toxic relationships, backbiting friendships, distrusting connections, or what do you call associations, where everybody's always like fighting to compete against one another, or fighting to be the best, or even keeping up with the Joneses could be a thing. And it's like, this is not even fun anymore. It doesn't even get the juices flowing anymore. But someone doesn't even have the juice to come over here, because this side takes a much more pure and I don't even know, like a more kosher juice, if you will. I don't know what to say about it, but they ain't got it. They don't even want to have it, but they certainly ain't got it to fake it. And they know that. So what do you do? What do you do? It's like a playboy who's kind of timed out, like that bachelor that just played the field just a little bit too long. And now the pool of prospects is kind of shallow. That's what this is giving. It's like the pool is very shallow. And all the premium prospects have already been coupled up, or just happy in their singlehood, or whatever the case may be. They just not on no bullshit, that's for sure. Like me personally, I'd be single for the rest of my life before I settle for a game playing F-boy Knight of Wands. Ain't no way, honey. Not even to scratch an itch that ain't been scratched in a long time. Like, no, I'm cool. Even with no strings attached, and this is just friends with benefits, or a situationship, or a little fun, and I don't care how old I got, that would never again would that be my speed, because it's just too much, like I'm saying here, like you just put yourself into too much risk of getting entangled. It might not even be with this character, but in the baggage that he comes with. Some young girls that think they the number one, that want to be calling your phone, or a baby mama that want to challenge you, or whatever else he got going on that you just wouldn't even want no parts of. It just wouldn't be ideal. You'd be better off pleasing yourself than the headache that this energy would come with. And that's real. That is the optimal choice. Look at this. Look at this. The Emperor and the Star. Yeah, it's like somebody that, like I said, they take full accountability and responsibility for their life, and they know what they desire. They know what they've asked for, what they prayed for, what they wish for. They believe that it's possible. There's hope and faith for what you truly deserve, knowing your worth and value, knowing all that you bring to the table, and again, this is a example of the energy of that. Like I said, it was a separation that that forged the way for this more divine realization here of someone realizing like, I'm amazing. That person or place or group doesn't define me. They never did. It never did. You know, like it was always me that brought my special essence to the group, not taking anything away from anybody else. But when you realize like your true worth and value, you know that you are a blessing to any space that you grace. Yeah. And that's like no arrogance whatsoever. That's just confidence and self-awareness and self-assuredness. And sometimes it takes for you to disassociate from more toxic connections or just imbalanced connections to make that realization. And that's okay. But certainly you wouldn't backtrack or settle or take, you know, anybody's scraps or leftovers or somebody that's been burnt out from the world back just because once upon a time it was something that, you know, satisfied you or was a good time. You know, no, at this point in time, this energy would be right to believe that they don't have a chance in hell or heaven for that matter, especially as far as heaven is concerned, because it just doesn't align. And it's no shade, it's no judgment, it's none of that. It's just really comes down to knowing what you're worth, what your value is, and what you desire to have for yourself, and knowing and the faith to hold out for that no matter what comes your way. Because you could have something that would seem like, oh, this will just be cool for right now, let's have a little fun. And like I said, that could be something that gets in the way of you having the thing that you really want to have, the relationship that really suits you, that really complements who you are. No, it ain't happening. No. And this is like even more, much more generally, just energies that want to be playing around and playing the field. And they, like I said, they still want to play cat and mouse, but they just want a better mouse to chase. They don't really want to chase the rats. No shame. Cats don't even really fool with rats like that, truth be told. They want to chase, they want a mouse that's a little bit more delectable. No. All right, let me just get one more on this row. And honestly, I think that's all we need to say about this. Because what I'm going to do, another row of this? I think not. All these majors here, the lovers, the judgment, the emperor, the star, like this is some powerful energy out here. If you resonate with that, you know good and damn well that if you don't already have it good, even if you're by yourself, single, and self-sufficient, you know that there's something amazing coming towards you or that you're good for it. So please don't settle for anything temporary. And that's what the Knight of Wands is giving. Just temporary fix. It might seem like it's no consequences, no strings, it's innocent, harmless, but it ain't. It's just not in this day and age. Exactly. Keep them guards up, sis. Don't do it. Don't do it. I would act as if I don't even see or hear or acknowledge offers that don't meet a certain standard or requirement. Say what you want to say. And you could be hit with the, oh, you are, you think too highly of yourself, or you need to lower your standards, or you asking too much. You're this age, you got this going on. You this time, this day and age, that's what you think you gonna find out here? Yep. And if not, then guess what? It's just me and the divine to the end of time. But it won't be. It's virtually impossible unless that's what you truly desire. But for those that truly are in the market for partnership on their terms. Now, I don't mean nothing stupid now. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I'll leave that to you, but I'm talking about just a reasonable expectation that aligns with who you are, what you're capable of, what you're willing to give in exchange in a partnership, what you're willing to sacrifice or submit to, what you command or demand, to share your auric field or to connect auric fields. And again, that can be platonic, that can be familial, that can be creative, professional, that can be intimate. Whatever the case may be, it is imperative that you maintain a supreme standard. And this is, to me, like, this affirms that you have every right to. And to maintain this posture of indifference until there's something that's been affirmed on this level, on that lover's level, that's been judged by the divine, that's been asserted as an ordinance for your alignment, that you can more or less, like, not fact check, but like verify. Like verify in spirit and in flesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing less. Nothing less. And perhaps there is an opportunity to be surprised with more than you could have even imagined, but certainly nothing less. And I get the sense that the circumstances are so that there's really not a lot that you would, when you have certain declarations and then you operate in that frequency of that decree, I get the sense there's something about your auric field almost being like deflective of energies that would even have the audacity to approach, knowing they mean you no good. Just like I said, this Knight of Wands is going in the opposite direction because he ain't trying to come correct toward no lover situation. That's not what he's in the market for. Now, he may be bored where he's been playing, but he knows that he's not serious enough and devoted and dedicated enough to commit to a lover's situation. He knows that. So I'm getting the sense that if you just maintain that decree and that alignment with that declaration that you've made, like, this is what I desire, and then you don't default on that standard for yourself and even how you treat yourself, as you await that alignment to come into fruition, taking care of yourself on that standard, in that frequency and in that highest vibration. I feel like you're pretty much like, like I said, deflecting options that would love to approach and proposition, but know that it's best that they probably shouldn't. Or get their feelings hurt, or get their egos bruised, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But who knows? You might have a few audacious ones that'll just try it. So just as long as your senses are aligned. Yeah. 4 cups. Yeah, this is either you or them, but you rejecting energies that are not in alignment with accepting an Ace of Cups for themselves. That's the Knight of Wands is not here for no Ace of Cups, no unconditional love. They have not even matured to operate in that function yet. And it's not to say that they won't, or that experience couldn't groom that aspect of themselves or that character within themselves, but the energy that I'm speaking of from the beginning of the pre-shuffle to now is not emotionally available. They wouldn't do anything but bring trauma, drama, whether intentionally or otherwise, and leave a mark when they ultimately, either when you have to release them or when they ultimately leave. That's what it would cover. Yeah. Oh shit. A burden. Good Lord. So look at this. A cross for you to bear. That's what they leaving. Child. Yeah, ain't nothing more to say about this. Y'all get the point. I'm probably preaching to the choir anyway, because if you get all this, then you already know what to do. You already know when it's a no thank you, or a hell no, or fuck out of here. There are different levels to that to that rejection, perhaps, that may or may not be necessary depending on who's in front of you. But all the different ways to say I'm good in more ways than one, you know, like you know what to do, and you know how to continue to protect your energy, your auric field, your best interest, your goals, your wishes, your intentions, you know, your future, your creativity, even the most the purest essence of you, your chastity, perhaps, even. Like, don't waste your time, because even more so, like, this is somebody that would come in. Now look at this. Look at the illustration of it all. Imagine giving somebody like this a chance, because I mean, it's cool. Like, I ain't looking, I know he ain't for nothing serious, but I just want to have a little fun. Now, what did I say? That they gonna end up bringing all their baggage to you. And now 6 wands then multiplied to 10, the max that you can get in any card. All of their drama and trauma now becomes yours. Could even be transmittable when we're talking about cups, by disease or dis-ease. But either way, what a disruption to so much, you know, opulent energy here. As the star, someone that's done their due diligence to heal and cleanse and purify their auric field, to get to the bare bones of their true identity, to let something like this come and taint it, disrupt it, disturb it? I think not. I think not. And hopefully I'm just preaching to the choir, but at the very least, let this be the sign that that inkling that you might have had to maybe not allow yourself to play the field, you know, casually, so to speak, and to be a bit more selective and intentional about your time and energy, that this is it. This is that for you. You are correct. Do that. All right. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.